All right, ladies and gentlemen, so today we're going to get into some more vocabulary dealing with our functions and our graphs of functions. I'm going to ask that before you even start watching this that you go and get either 2 or 3 different colored pencils or highlighters because it's really going to help you out here. So, all right, getting started. So minimum, hopefully that makes sense. Minimum usually means low, small, so this is going to be your lowest turning point. In this graph, that would be right here, right? It turns, that's called a minimum. The point right here for the minimum is going to be 2, -10. Right, so I'm going to try to associate here with colors. Maximum, the reverse of that, is going to be your high turning point. Which is going to be right here in your graph, and that would be at -210. So minimum, it might not be the absolute lowest value, but it's the lowest turning point. Where does it turn? Okay, same graph, talking about something different this time though. Increasing. Increasing is where the graph goes up. And we're going to end up using some interval notation here. So if you look, your graph is going up here, and I want you to color over it with your colored pencils, and it's going up here. It's increasing. So the intervals that it's increasing on, right, we're thinking about our x values for our intervals. So that's going to be from -infinity to, and this stops at -2, right? And those are going to be our soft and hard, because just like with inequalities, infinities are always going to be soft brackets. And then from here, this side, it's going to be from 2, hard bracket, to infinity. Okay, so that's where it's increasing. It's going up. If you're reading from left to right, it's going up. Decreasing is when the graph goes down. So here, that's going to be from that part of the graph. In interval notation, that's going to be from -2 to 2. All right, so again, I'm trying to use my colors. You use choosing colors or highlighters, whatever's going to work for you. All right, some more vocabulary. Positive. Positive is when the graph is above the x-axis. When the graph So here, right, it's going to be positive here. And it's going to be positive here, right? That's where it's going to be positive. So that is going from, right, it's positive, this is at -3, and it goes to 0. I'm going to put this here, -3 to 0. And then it's also positive here from 1, 2, 3 to infinity. Negative is when it is below the x-axis. That's supposed to, we're just going to put a line. So in that case, you're going to have this part of the graph, and you're going to have this part of the graph. That's when it's negative. So it's negative from -infinity up to our -3, and then from 0 to +3. Because that's when the graph is below the x-axis. Okay, end behavior. This is a little weird, but you're describing what's happening at each end of the graph. Each end. Okay, so what does that mean? So down here, right, if I'm looking at this part, down here my graph is going down. And it's going down, right, the more towards -infinity. So when usually we look from left to right. When you're talking about end behavior, you're looking towards the left and towards the right. A little bit different. But here we would say as x decreases, right, because you're going towards the left on that side, y decreases because it's going down. Over here, right, at this end, it's going up. So as x increases, y increases. That was pretty bad handwriting. All right, next page. So here, this time we're talking about x-intercepts. X-intercepts have a bunch of different names, but this is where the graph crosses the x-axis. And we already looked at this a little bit. Graph crosses x. This is also another name for, excuse me, this is another name for roots, zeros, and solutions, right? We talked about those earlier in the chapter, right? So here, my x-intercepts, I have 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, which means I have 3 zeros, 3 roots, 3 solutions, right? So my x-intercepts are going to be -3, 0, and 3. Y-intercepts is where it crosses the y-axis. Those don't have any extra special names though. So here, it only crosses the y-axis once at 0. All right, domain and range are some other things that we need to talk about. Domain are all of your x values. Range is all of your y values. All right, let's take a look at this. Try an example here. So here's the function, and it's graphed, between -7 and 7. Okay, find the maximum and minimum values of the function. So that's the maximum is the highest turning point, so even though there's 2 turning points, here and here, I need the highest one, right? This is the one that I need. So the maximum is going to be -1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, the minimum is your lowest turning point, which is right here. And that's going to be at -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -1. So I'm going to just label min and max. What is the y-intercept of the function? Well, the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So here's your y-axis, here's where it crosses. All right, so your y-intercept is 0, because they want the name of the point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Explain why a function cannot have more than y-intercept, because then it's not going to pass the vertical line test. Won't pass VLT. Okay. Get the x-intercepts of the function. These are also known as the zeros because it's when f of x equals 0. So my zeros, and I'm going to list the points this time. So we have 2 of them. I should have used a different color. Sorry. Let me erase that. I'm going to do it in green. So my zeros are right here. All right, so again, well, actually, no, I don't want to put those. I'm going to put them in a solution set. So this is when x equals -6 and -4. So -6, -4. Okay, now there's one more problem that I want you to try, and we'll talk about in class. I want you to try answering, oh, actually, no, I do not. Sorry, we're going to continue on with our vocab here. All right, no, we're not. We're going to save this part for class. The video's gotten a little long. But any questions, it's all vocabulary, and you just kind of have to memorize it, and I'm thinking index card. But anyway, any questions, bring them to class. Have a good